Hi guys and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another foundation review. This time it's the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation. This foundation comes in a 30ml bottle, which is a pretty standard size. It claims to be a foundation and a concealer in one, which is quite interesting. It's meant to be lightweight and moisturizing. It does not contain an SPF, and I have read quite a few reviews of this foundation, and it seems that a few people have actually complained that there's no SPF included in this foundation. It is currently £25. This is just the recommended price. It comes in 28 shades, so it's a good range of shades, I think. However, I did actually read some reviews, and again, some people actually complained that the shades are not what they're meant to be. Now, this foundation actually has pretty mixed reviews. I'd say that out of 5 stars, it gets on average 4 or even 3.5. And the major complaint that I have heard of is actually that shades tend to be quite orange, and also that it's not suitable for people with very light skin. It seems that the lightest shade, which I believe to be alabaster, is just not light enough. Also, I have heard a few complaints that it also sort of enlarges pores or clogs pores. So we will see about that, because I do have large pores already, so I will definitely be able to tell the difference. There is a disclaimer on the Clinique's website to say that when you apply this foundation first, it's gonna seem darker. Apparently there's a lot of pigment in the foundation, and that will fade away a little bit within minutes. At least this is what they claim. Every now and then a company comes out with something new, and this is basically the case with this foundation. So they have now introduced a wand that you are apparently meant to be distributing foundation with on your face, and there were some instructions on the Clinique's website as to how to do it. However, I know from experience that this is not going to work very well. The wand looks exactly the same as any other wand for liquid concealer. Obviously, this is definitely not the way to apply foundation on your face, but it definitely helps with getting it out of the bottle, since there is no pump included. So I will still be using a slightly more old-fashioned tools such as a blender and a brush, as I cannot possibly imagine distributing this foundation evenly on my face with a teeny tiny wand. Anyway, let's get started. The shade I'll be using is number 04 Cream Whip. So it is a pale but pinkish color. I will see whether the complaints that I have read on the internet will ring true with this foundation. It does seem like a really nice consistency actually. It's quite, I would say it's quite creamy for a foundation. Let's just... I don't like the scent though, it just smells like old foundation. Although Clinique is actually well known for not using fragrance in the product, something that I really appreciate, but it doesn't mean that it has to sting. Okay, and dab dab dab. Okay, so it's actually distributing really well. I have absolutely no complaints whatsoever. The shade is alright as well. I wouldn't say it's a perfect shade for me. It's a little bit too pink. Now, I think I've put too much on my face, which is very rare for me to do. But I just thought that otherwise it's not gonna be enough. Huh. Well, let's just keep going. Let's put it this way, in no time my foundation is absolutely fine on my face. That almost never happens. Normally I find applying foundation with a beauty blender a fairly long-winded process. That doesn't seem to be the case with this foundation. Okay, so far I'm happy. Let's try the brush. I think again I put too much on my face, but that's okay, that's okay. Let's just see how it blends out. Okay, so far so good. So my first impression is very positive. It covered my face really well. It took me no time, whether that was with the blender or with the brush. The shade maybe isn't perfect. I think it's just a little bit too pink for me. I would probably go a shade lighter than this. But overall, it really isn't a big issue, and I don't think it's particularly orange either. I don't know whether it's only some shades that seem too orange or whether it's all shades that to some people seem too orange. To me, it looks absolutely fine. I have no complaints in terms of orangeness of this shade. As you can see, my face is obviously quite shiny. This is not a mattifying foundation as far as I know. I have obviously put moisturizer underneath, so that is something to be expected. Another complaint that I've heard from other reviewers is that it tends to gather in the pores. Now I have large pores, so with me it would be very apparent if it did gather in the pores. So far obviously I just applied it, so it wouldn't really be very apparent just yet. So I will wait a few hours, and obviously I will check in with you guys later in the evening. I will give this foundation a little bit of time to work on my face. Also, as Clinique said on the website, the pigment is meant to look a little bit darker once you've applied it, but then apparently within a few minutes it's meant to become a little bit lighter. So we'll see how that goes. As I said, I so far am really happy with the result. It is a really quick application. The price seems to be really good because it's £25. Most of the high-end foundations are above £30 mark, so this is kind of like a medium range foundation. Again, there's no fragrance because it is Clinique. Clinique is well known for not including fragrance in the products, and obviously it is a brand that is available pretty much everywhere or almost everywhere, so there's no difficulties with finding this particular foundation. And with 26 shades, I'm sure that you can probably find your shade as well. Because of all of the negative reviews that I've read, although majority were actually really positive, I would probably suggest getting a sample or asking a shop assistant in store to actually apply it to your face so you can see how you like it. As with anything else, foundation is a very personal choice, and we don't all have the same kind of skin and the same kind of issues we would like to work with. So I would definitely suggest getting a sample before you purchase. My skin is quite difficult. It's a combination skin and I have quite a few problems with it, as you could probably see at the beginning of this video. So far it has covered most of the problems. Obviously it's a foundation that is, I would say, medium covered, so I wouldn't expect it to just cover everything, but that's absolutely fine. Now in terms of application, I'd say that probably blender would be a better option. As you could see, it took me literally no time to apply it with the blender, and that's almost never the case. And I have a sense that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I have a sense that it just looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit smoother, and I don't know, it just, color seems slightly lighter as well. I don't know, maybe that's just me. The results are very, very much alike on both sides of my face. I just want to see how it stays on my face, so I will see you guys in about 8 to 10 hours. See you in a bit. And welcome back. So it has now been approximately 9 hours since I applied this foundation onto my face. The first impression that I would like to share is that after I switched off the camera, it seemed to me that this foundation has become even darker. So it was actually darker than when I was applying it, and then after about maybe an hour it seems that it started to adjust to the natural color of my skin, so it has sort of lightened over the time. I am actually quite happy with this foundation. As you can see, my face is quite shiny, but it's also because I didn't really put anything on top of it, so I didn't put any powder or any makeup whatsoever. So this is basically the only makeup that I currently have on my face is the actual foundation. My face is obviously quite oily in the T-zone, so you can definitely see that the foundation is just partly removed from at least that part of my face. Then I can actually see that it started to cake up a little bit in some areas, for example here between my eyebrows. But overall on my cheeks and on my forehead it looks really alright, and considering it has been quite a long day, I would say that it held up really well. As I've mentioned previously, some of the reviewers actually mentioned that it clogged their pores. I haven't really noticed anything, to be quite honest. It doesn't improve the appearance of my pores, but it doesn't make it any worse either. And there have been quite a few foundations that I've had that would make this problem even worse. So no, this does not seem to be the case with this particular foundation on my skin. Obviously, it also depends on your personal preferences and your expectations, so I guess I just didn't expect all that much in terms of my pores. The foundation claimed to moisturize the skin. It's very difficult for me to comment on that because obviously it's been only one day. It definitely looks pretty natural, so my skin definitely looks both oily and moisturized. So it didn't actually cake up very much, and that normally is a good sign. That might actually mean that the moisture in the foundation was sufficient for my skin. In the harsh lighting, obviously my face looks not so great, but obviously I do have a huge light right in front of my face, so that probably makes some of the problems that I'm struggling with even worse. But overall, with the normal lighting, I'd say that this foundation is still on. Not in perfect condition, but come on, it's been 9 hours. No foundation will be in perfect condition after 9 hours. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, and considering that this foundation didn't really have that great reviews, I mean, it had very much mixed reviews, I'd say I am siding with the people who raved about it. I don't think it's any better than most of the foundations I have tried so far, but it is quite good, and considering it is actually cheaper than most of the high-end foundations because it's £25, I think that it is definitely worth a try. Anyway, so that's that for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do comment, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!